Hey guys, it's Amber. I'm sharing two new products today. I'll be swatching the Altenew Autumn Festival watercolor brush marker, and there are three brand new colors to share. I also have the Paint-A-Flower Paeonia Japonica stamp set. I'll be creating two projects with that, a card and a tag card as well. Let's get started. First up, we have the Paint-A-Flower Paeonia Japonica. I'm not sure if that's how you say it. I hope that it is. And let me show you the product insert. So inside, you always have great inspiration of different ways that you can use it, different ways you can arrange it on your card, and then also other products that are perfect to pair it with. So this is just a really great stamp set. I love that the flowers are already arranged and you don't need to do any masking. Now we have the Autumn Festival watercolor brush marker. You can see that it has three new colors: winter fog, tree bark, and also sea forest. I'm also really excited to have yellow ochre in this set, particularly for an autumn set. I think these are going to be just fabulous colors, but they've also paired this set with some bright colors as well. So I'll go ahead and swatch these for you guys so that you can see the mix of neutral tones and bright colors. I'm super excited for these three colors, especially the winter fog and the tree bark, because a while ago I had requested that they create a color family that was similar to Copic E70 family, and I'm going to swatch that out for you as well so you can see that. So it started off with cotton candy, then orange cream. Next up we have yellow ochre, and then mango smoothie. Mango smoothie bled into my yellow ochre a little bit. Look how pretty that sea forest is. Now we have just green, which is one of my favorite greens ever. We have ultramarine and ultraviolet in this set. So again, you have some really bright colors in those three as well as the orange cream. This is tree bark, and then we have winter fog. Super, super excited about those. So here they are a little bit closer so you can see them. Super rich colors. I love how vibrant they are. So I'll stamp Paeonia Japonica on a piece of Altenew watercolor paper set. This is the A2 sized pre-cut sheets, and I'm going to stamp that in Obsidian pigment ink. And I just wanted to swatch these out a little bit larger for you. So this is sea forest, winter fog, and tree bark at the bottom. And now I have my E70 markers. These are my favorite brown markers from Copic, and I love them so much that I had suggested it to Altenew a while back and thought it would be beautiful for ink pads. It's just a really versatile neutral tone. Like, you can use it with cool palettes, with warm palettes, and it's a little more interesting than just a standard gray. It's got that little bit of purple in it, which I think is so pretty. I don't know if they made them based on my suggestion or if they're even supposed to be similar to the E70s, but I love them. So here I have a few different colors on my glass mat. I have cotton candy, mango smoothie, sea forest, winter fog, and tree bark. And I'm just going to pick up some colors and do a little bit of color mixing on the paper. So I'm doing a wet on dry technique for the first layer. So I'm dropping in the yellow straight onto the dry paper, and then I'm going to drop in the cotton candy into those colors. And I do end up adding more colors to this. I add a little bit of the winter fog after this dries just a touch. So I'll show you one leaf or one petal in real time, and then I'll speed things up so that the video doesn't get too long. For the next flower, I'm doing cotton candy, and then I'll drop in a little bit of the winter fog, which is the lighter of the two neutrals. And I love this flower. Now, I do end up, after I'm done coloring this flower, I end up dropping a little bit of yellow into it, which is okay. I still like it. I don't like it as much as when it was just the pink and the neutral. So after I was done with the pink and the winter fog, here's where I drop in the mango smoothie. And so again, I like it. It kind of adds a little bit more of a vibrancy to the bloom, but I did like it better when it was just the pink and the winter fog. So here I'm adding some of the winter fog to the yellow bloom just to deepen up those shadows and add a little more dimension to the bloom. And then we'll move on to these little buds. I guess you could either consider them buds or berries. They look like buds to me because they have some petals. So I'm starting with some winter fog, and then I'll drop in, so I won't cover all of them, and I'll drop in some cotton candy so that we have color variation there. So really simple watercolor, nothing too super detailed. Really, it's just about dropping the color into the areas. For the leaves, I won't show very many of these because it's the same painting technique throughout, but I just watered down the sea forest just a little bit for my first coat. And then I'll drop in some of the tree bark. So this is the darker of the two browns. I'll drop in that tree bark, and then I'll add a little bit more of the pigmented sea forest to it as well. I also add a little cotton candy to a few of the leaves. Here's the finished painting, and I love it. It's vibrant, but also kind of vintage. Then I decide to paint the background. So I am dropping on some clean, clear water right now so that I can frame these leaves on the side. So your pigment is only going to go where your water is. It's also not going to seep into the card immediately because I've put the clean clear water down first. So I'm kind of doing that waterfall background effect. Now, if I had just left it like this, you guys, I would have been okay with it. If I had left it at this really light winter fog color, this would have been fine. But off camera, I decided to also add the dark brown. And so what used to be my really pretty flowers, I felt like just got lost in this background that turned into this big brown blob. So I left the footage in here so that you could see how it was done. You could probably do this with a lighter color and it would turn out great, but I did not like it when it was all said and done. It was dark and I just felt like the flowers weren't as vibrant. So I painted the whole thing again, which I never do. And then I decided to make a tag out of this other one just to get rid of some of that brown that was all around it. So I have a piece of Eucalyptus. Is this Curious Metallic? It's either Curious Metallic or Stardew Metallic cardstock. I'll have it linked down below. But it's a metallic cardstock that's a similar color to what I have going on in the leaves. I'm just going to pop this into my score buddy so I know where I need to score this. Basically what I want to do is create a tag card. So on my tags, I like to write a message. Well, I like to have a little bit of a card. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll create a card base for the tag. This one is a really easy tag die to do because you really just have to snip off the corners. You can trim it to the right size on your trimmer and then trim off the corners. You can either trim the corners on your paper trimmer or just using scissors and the die cut tag as a guide. Then I couldn't find my hole punch. So then I decided, okay, I'll go ahead and run this through my die cut machine with the tag die. So here I have the folded edge, and I'm making sure that the folded edge is inside the blade edge so that it doesn't get cut because I want to make sure that this stays a card. Well, I should have taken my shim out of my die cut machine because my cutting plate is old and has I've cut 1,000 things on it and all of that texture got impressed into the back of the tag. Super annoying. So then I cut another piece and just glued that on the back. Job done. Later on, I'm going to realize that I didn't want a hole in the front and the back because if I put the string through both of those holes, you're not going to be able to open the tag and see the message. So this was just ridiculousness, you guys. So I'll go ahead and glue this on with liquid adhesive. This is Art Glitter Glue with a precision tip. I really love that glue. And I like the liquid glue because it gives you some wiggle room to make sure everything is lined up. I'll get this nice and pressed down. And then I'm going to add the string. So to go along with this color ink, I thought the Silky Lilac metallic thread would be perfect. So I'm just going to take that, and this is from the metallic thread set from Altenew, and I'm just going to wrap that around the watercolor packaging just because it was handy and it was on my desk, and I wanted kind of a bunch of them. Just one isn't going to be substantial enough. So I wanted to have a thick layer of these, or bunch of these rather. So they're all looped around. I'm going to take that loop and put it through the tag, and here's where I realized, hello. I don't need that hole in the back of this, but whatever, we're going with it because this has just been a hot mess. So I'll thread this through, and then of course I have a loose end, and I was just going to trim off this loose end, but what I decided to do before trimming it is just poke it through the back side of these ones in the front, just so that it, instead of just, if I had trimmed it, it would just been a flyaway, but with it being behind there, that'll hold it down so that it's not a flyaway. So here is the finished tag card with the extra hole. I do really love that metallic cardstock. I think it adds kind of an elegance to the whole thing. Here's a close-up, and I love how these colors have blended together, especially for someone who really likes bright colors. I was surprised that I really enjoyed these colors as much as I did. So you'll have to let me know what you think down below. This video is part of a blog hop, so I'll have a link to my blog down below. Leave me a comment on my blog so that you're in for a chance to win a gift card to shop Altenew. I'll see you real soon with more inspiration. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, liking, and ringing that bell so you don't miss any new inspiration. Here's a couple more videos for you before you leave, and I'll see you real soon.